fighting on Dana White's Contender Series on September 10th. We're gonna get into the UFC and make sure everybody knows what a fighting country this is. I'm very happy to get this shot at the Dana White Contender Series because I think it's a platform where talents in the game can showcase their skills against other talents. You know, most of the guys are champions in other leagues or undefeated fighters, and to match them up against each other, to show steps out of that, and to get a contract, win a contract at the UFC. I think the persons that get it really deserve it. So I'm trying to be deserving and showcase a good show there. You gotta win every fight in order to grow in your career. I don't look farther than this. I just know winning this will get me the UFC contract. Very excited about that opportunity. But regardless of that, it's just another opponent, a higher level opponent. So yes, it's a step up. My skills are getting, higher and higher. So let's test it against one of the best walking outside of the UFC right now. Yeah, I'm really confident about this shot. I approach the fight the same way, like every fight, but especially like the last time at Contender. So I train really hard. I perform really hard in the gym to make sure that I don't leave any stones unturned. My diet is on point, my training is on point. I have the best people around me in terms of training partners, in terms of coaches. So there are no excuses. I just have to perform at my best and make sure that I can do that. It would be amazing to be in the same league as Alex Pereira. He's a light heavyweight champion right now and maybe even a heavyweight contender soon. So yeah, me stepping in there as a middleweight, with the team together, I think that would be amazing, especially if we could fight on the same card, The last fight at LFL was my hardest fight in my MMA career. It was against Ahmed Sami. He's a good fighter, undefeated kickboxer before, but he was very long in MMA. So his ground game is very dangerous as well. You can see his fights in LFL beforehand. He's very vicious with his elbows and everything. One of my first fights in MMA, I fought him and I lost a point decision. And I always wanted that grudge match. I was so happy that I could do that on LFL. And also it was a title fight on a light heavyweight. So it was 5 rounds, and I was really excited to have this fight against him. I know he's a warrior. He's not gonna give up. I can't hit him a few times and him tapping out or anything. So we fought the full 5 rounds, and it was a hard battle, a nice battle. And I'm happy I got my hand raised at the end. I felt great during the fight because I felt a lot of growth since our first fight. As an MMA fighter, I was so much more confident about my ground as well, so I could use my striking without being scared of, hitting the ground. In our first fight, I was too cautious of actually getting in, and that's where I slacked. And this time I was getting confident, I felt his rhythm, I knew I could hit him, knew I could, grapple him against the cage and all those things. So I was happy with how it was going during the fight, but I knew I had to win it. I knew my next opportunity getting into the UFC would be very dependent on winning this title. I think it was a major step in my MMA career, and having this title actually helped me get this shot at the Dana White Contender Series. Yeah, I'm very happy that I made this switch to MMA. First of all, because I fell in love with the training. It is so diverse and so hard in the beginning, of course, because you had to learn a lot of new plateaus, a lot of new things within the fighting realm, and that was such an amazing experience. And then, when I started to have the fights and grow a little bit, my name grew a little bit in the MMA, and I saw that I could actually make name and actually perform at the highest level. It just became normal. Still very happy to have this as my job and to be able to work on this craft daily. When I was a kid, I did traditional jiu-jitsu for a few years, so I knew how to fall, I knew how to grapple a little bit, but growing up, because kickboxing was so huge in the Netherlands, I just focused on being a kickboxer and tried to be a kickboxer and became a kickboxer. So when I transitioned to MMA, it was a whole other world. But I had a little bit of base, and when I started to feel like, okay, I can actually fight with the guys who do this for a long time, and I can actually perform on MMA. I do feel comfortable on the ground, but I don't want to be there because I know I'm much better to be standing up. So I like it when we rolling, when we do BJJ training. I like to be on the ground. I'm comfortable there. But when I do an MMA fight, I like to use my skills, which is, my best skills, like a football player. If he's right-footed, he just likes to shoot with the right, even though he can use his left if it happens. I want to thank all the fans of the LFL, Levels Fight League promotion, people who've been supporting me, fights here in Amsterdam. Crowd is amazing. I'm sure I'll be attending all the next LFL events because I just love the fight, love the flow. I will be fighting on Dana White's Contender Series on September 10th. Please tune in and support me because we're gonna raise the flags, we're gonna get into the UFC and make sure everybody knows what a fighting country this is.